and welcome back to Whispered Ingredients. I'm Marcus Sage, and I'm here to whisper you gently into the world of cooking, where every ingredient has a story, every dish carries history, and every recipe holds the power to comfort and soothe. Here, we move slowly, we speak softly, and we let the whispered tales of ingredients carry you toward restful sleep. Tonight, as the autumn air grows crisp and the leaves begin their colorful transformation, I invite you to settle in comfortably, perhaps with a warm blanket, as we explore a dish that perfectly captures the essence of fall. If you find yourself enjoying these gentle cooking journeys, I'd be grateful if you take a moment to give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to join our growing community of peaceful food lovers. Your support helps me continue creating these soothing culinary stories for everyone who finds comfort in the quiet corners of the kitchen. Tonight's featured dish is something truly special, a beautiful marriage of two beloved comfort foods that together create something greater than the sum of their parts. We'll be exploring pumpkin pie waffles, a dish that takes the warm, spiced essence of traditional pumpkin pie and transforms it into the crispy, golden perfection of fresh waffles. I first discovered this combination quite by accident one November morning when I was experimenting in my grandmother's kitchen, trying to use up leftover pumpkin puree from her famous Thanksgiving pie. The aroma that filled the kitchen that day, the way the spices mingled with the familiar comfort of waffle batter, created something magical that I've been perfecting ever since. Imagine biting into a waffle that tastes like autumn itself, with notes of cinnamon, nutmeg, and that distinctive pumpkin sweetness that signals the season's arrival. Before we begin our journey together, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me about your favorite autumn memory, perhaps one that involves the scent of spices or the warmth of a kitchen on a cool evening. These shared memories create the heart of our community, connecting us through our love of food and the stories that surround it. You'll find the complete recipe for these pumpkin pie waffles in the description below, perfectly formatted for you to save, print, or bookmark for your own kitchen adventures. But for now, let the gentle flow of our story guide you as we uncover the fascinating history, explore each carefully chosen ingredient, and discover why this particular combination of flavors works so beautifully together. We'll journey through time to understand how pumpkin pie became such an integral part of American cuisine, tracing its roots from the earliest colonial experiments with this New World gourd. We'll discover how waffles found their way across the Atlantic, bringing with them centuries of European tradition. Then we'll witness the magic that happens when these two culinary traditions unite, creating something both familiar and wonderfully new. Along the way, we'll meet each ingredient individually, learning their secrets, their origins, and the roles they play in creating our perfect pumpkin pie waffles. From the earthy sweetness of pumpkin to the warm embrace of traditional pie spices, each component has earned its place through both flavor and history. Finally, we'll explore the best ways to serve and enjoy these waffles, discovering how they can transform an ordinary morning into something special, how they can bring families together around the breakfast table, and how they carry forward the comforting traditions that make food so much more than mere sustenance. So take a deep breath, let your shoulders relax, and allow yourself to be transported into this gentle world of whispered ingredients and peaceful preparation. Let the soft cadence of our shared cooking story ease away the stresses of your day, replacing them with the warm, comforting knowledge that comes from understanding food in its fullest context. Let's get cooking. To understand the magic of pumpkin pie waffles, we must first travel back in time to the earliest days of American cooking, where the story of pumpkin pie begins not with the elegant dessert we know today, but with necessity, creativity, and the generous spirit of Native American knowledge. The Wampanoag had called the pumpkin both food and medicine, and it was their understanding of this versatile gourd that helped early colonists survive their first harsh winters in the New World. The first version of pumpkin pie began when British colonists sliced off the top of the pumpkin, removed its seeds, and filled the hollow with milk, spices, and honey, then baked it in hot ashes. This primitive cooking method produced something closer to a pudding than the pie we recognize today, but it represented the beautiful fusion of old world techniques with new world ingredients. An actual present-day pumpkin pie with crust is a myth for the early colonial period, as ovens to bake pies were not available in the colony at that stage. The colonists had to work with what they had, and what they had were pumpkins aplenty and the knowledge shared by indigenous peoples who had been cultivating these golden orbs for thousands of years. As settlements grew and cooking technology advanced, the humble pumpkin pudding gradually evolved. In the American colonies, ginger, nutmeg, and allspice were the more accessible seasonings to accompany a pumpkin pie, creating the warm spice profile that still defines pumpkin desserts today. These spices weren't just flavor enhancers, they were precious commodities that transformed simple ingredients into something approaching luxury. The development of proper ovens and pastry techniques allowed colonial cooks to create the first true pumpkin pies, with golden crusts that held the spiced pumpkin filling we've come to love. This transformation represented more than just culinary evolution, it symbolized the growing confidence and prosperity of the American colonies. Now, let us turn our attention to the second half of our story, the arrival of waffles in America. The waffle was introduced to the Pilgrims by the Dutch while spending time in Holland before setting sail for America, though it would take some time before waffles became truly established in American kitchens. Waffles first came to America with the Dutch immigrants settling in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania in the 17th century, bringing with them the techniques and traditions that had been refined in European kitchens for generations. The word itself was first printed in English in 1725 and comes from the Dutch word for wafer. The early American waffle was quite different from what we enjoy today. The first waffle iron patent in America was received by the Dutch American Cornelius Swarthout of Troy, New York. These were designed to be used over an open fire, with two metal plates attached to very long handles and flipped once or twice in order to cook. Imagine the skill required to create perfectly golden waffles over an unpredictable open flame. The true magic happens when we consider why pumpkin and waffle flavors work so beautifully together. Both represent comfort, both speak to our desire for warmth and satisfaction. Pumpkin pie flavors, with their gentle sweetness and warming spices, find a perfect canvas in the crispy exterior and fluffy interior of a well-made waffle. The combination creates textural harmony that neither dish achieves alone. The waffle's grid pattern holds pockets of syrup or butter, while the pumpkin flavoring provides a subtle earthiness that balances sweetness with substance. The spices traditionally used in pumpkin pie, cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger, enhance rather than compete with the waffle's own mild flavor. This fusion represents the best of American cooking innovation, taking two beloved comfort foods and creating something that honors both traditions while establishing something entirely new. It's the kind of creative cooking that happens when we understand ingredients deeply enough to imagine new possibilities for them. The pumpkin pie waffle stands as a testament to the evolution of American cuisine, where traditions from different cultures and different eras meet in our kitchens to create dishes that feel both familiar and exciting, both comforting and new. Now that we understand the beautiful history behind our dish, let's gather the ingredients that will bring these pumpkin pie waffles to life in your own kitchen. Each component has been carefully selected not just for flavor, but for the way it contributes to both texture and that distinctive pumpkin pie essence we're seeking to capture. For these waffles, you'll need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, which will provide the structure that holds all our flavors together. Add to this 1 tablespoon of baking powder, ensuring our waffles rise to perfect fluffiness, and 1 teaspoon of salt to enhance and balance all the other flavors. The spice blend is where the magic of pumpkin pie truly comes alive. You'll need 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, that warm, sweet spice that immediately signals comfort and home. Add half a teaspoon of ground ginger, bringing a gentle heat that wakes up the palate, and a 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground nutmeg, providing that distinctive warmth that makes pumpkin pie so memorable. Finally, just a pinch of ground cloves adds depth and complexity without overwhelming the gentler spices. For our wet ingredients, we start with 1 cup of pure pumpkin puree, the heart of our recipe. Choose a high-quality canned puree or prepare fresh pumpkin yourself for the most authentic flavor. You'll need 1 3/4 cups of whole milk, which creates the tender crumb we desire, and 2 large eggs, separated because we'll be treating the whites specially to create extra lightness. Add 1/4 cup of melted butter, cooled slightly so it doesn't cook the eggs when mixed. Include 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, which complements the pumpkin's natural sweetness while adding subtle molasses notes. Finally, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract rounds out our flavor profile with its gentle floral sweetness. The preparation begins with heating your waffle iron to medium-high heat. While it warms, we'll prepare our batter using a technique that ensures perfectly light, fluffy waffles every time. In a large bowl, whisk together all the dry ingredients, the flour, baking powder, salt, and all the spices. This thorough mixing ensures even distribution of leavening and spices throughout every bite. Create a well in the center of these dry ingredients, like making a gentle crater where our wet ingredients will nestle. In a separate bowl, combine the pumpkin puree, milk, egg yolks, melted butter, brown sugar, and vanilla extract. Whisk these together until completely smooth and well combined. The mixture should be a beautiful golden orange color, promising the flavors to come. Here's where technique becomes important for achieving the perfect texture. In a clean bowl with clean beaters, whip the egg whites until they form soft peaks. This extra step creates the light, airy texture that elevates these waffles from good to extraordinary. The whites should hold their shape when the beaters are lifted but not be stiff or dry. Pour the pumpkin mixture into the well of dry ingredients and gently stir just until the flour disappears. The batter should look slightly lumpy, and that's exactly what we want. Overmixing develops gluten, leading to tough waffles instead of the tender ones we're creating. Now comes the final, crucial step. Add 1/3 of the whipped egg whites to the batter and gently fold them in to lighten the mixture. Then fold in the remaining whites in 2 additions, using a gentle turning motion that preserves as much air as possible. The finished batter should be light, fluffy, and speckled with tiny white streaks from the egg whites. Cook the waffles according to your waffle iron's instructions, usually about 3 to 4 minutes per waffle. Look for visual cues. The steam should slow significantly, and the waffles should be golden brown and pull away easily from the iron. The aroma will be incredible, filling your kitchen with the warm sense of autumn spices. Serve immediately for the best texture contrast, crispy exterior yielding to a fluffy, flavorful interior. If you must hold them briefly, place finished waffles in a single layer on a wire rack in a 200-degree oven to maintain crispness. These waffles freeze beautifully for up to 3 months, individually wrapped and stored in freezer bags. To reheat, simply toast them directly from frozen until warm through and crispy again. Let's now explore each ingredient in our pumpkin pie waffles more deeply, understanding not just what each contributes to our final dish, but the fascinating stories and science behind these humble yet remarkable components. Pumpkin, the star of our recipe, belongs to the vast gourd family, which includes squash, gourds, and melons. The varieties we typically use for cooking, such as sugar pie or Cinderella pumpkins, contain significantly more flesh and less water than their jack-o'-lantern cousins. Fresh pumpkin flesh contains about 90% water, which concentrates during cooking into that rich, earthy sweetness we cherish. Nutritionally, pumpkin provides abundant beta-carotene, which our bodies convert to vitamin A, along with fiber, potassium, and vitamin C. When selecting canned pumpkin, choose pure pumpkin puree rather than pumpkin pie filling, which already contains spices and sweeteners. Eggs serve multiple crucial roles in our waffle batter. The yolks act as emulsifiers, thanks to their lecithin, helping bind the fats and liquids into a smooth, cohesive mixture. They also contribute richness and help create the tender texture we desire. The whites, when whipped independently, trap air bubbles that expand during cooking, creating the light, airy interior that makes these waffles so special. For best results, use eggs at room temperature as they whip to greater volume and combine more easily with other ingredients. Fresh eggs have thicker whites and more prominent yolks, indicators of both quality and superior performance in baking. Cinnamon, perhaps the most recognizable spice in our blend, comes from the inner bark of evergreen trees native to Sri Lanka and southern India. True Ceylon cinnamon offers a sweet, delicate flavor, while the more common cassia cinnamon provides stronger, spicier notes. Both contain compounds that not only create wonderful aroma and flavor but also possess natural preservative properties that help make cinnamon so valuable in ancient trade routes. When possible, buy whole cinnamon sticks and grind them yourself for the most vibrant flavor. Nutmeg requires special attention as this spice transforms dramatically when freshly ground. The whole nutmeg seed contains volatile oils that dissipate quickly once exposed to air, which is why pre-ground nutmeg often tastes dusty rather than warm and aromatic. A small nutmeg grater or microplane makes quick work of grating fresh nutmeg, and the difference in flavor intensity is remarkable. Nutmeg contains myristicin, a compound that provides its distinctive warm, slightly sweet flavor profile. Ginger brings gentle heat and complexity to our spice blend. Ground ginger is made from dried ginger root, concentrating the flavors while creating a completely different taste profile from fresh ginger. The drying process transforms the sharp, almost citrusy bite of fresh ginger into something warmer and more mellow, perfect for baked goods. Ginger has been prized for thousands of years not just for flavor, but for its digestive properties, making it a perfect addition to a rich breakfast dish. All-purpose flour provides the structural foundation for our waffles. This flour contains a moderate amount of protein, typically around 10 to 12%, which develops into gluten when mixed with liquid. However, our gentle mixing technique and the addition of whipped egg whites work together to minimize gluten development, keeping our waffles tender rather than tough. The flour also helps absorb excess moisture from the pumpkin puree, preventing soggy waffles while maintaining the desired texture. Whole milk contributes both richness and moisture to our batter. The fat content, usually around 3.25%, helps create tender texture while carrying flavor throughout the waffle. Milk proteins also contribute to browning during cooking, helping create that beautiful golden exterior. The lactose in milk adds subtle sweetness that complements the pumpkin and spices without competing with them. Vanilla extract deserves special mention for its role in enhancing other flavors rather than dominating them. Pure vanilla extract contains vanillin and numerous other compounds that create its complex flavor profile. These compounds have the remarkable ability to make other flavors taste more like themselves, intensifying the pumpkin flavor and harmonizing the spice blend. Choose pure vanilla extract over imitation for the most complex flavor development. Brown sugar brings more than just sweetness to our recipe. The molasses content in brown sugar adds depth and slight caramel notes that complement both pumpkin and spices beautifully. It also contributes to moisture retention, helping keep our waffles tender. The darker the brown sugar, the more molasses it contains, so choose based on how much of that rich, complex sweetness you prefer in your final dish. As our journey through the world of pumpkin pie waffles draws to a close, let's explore the many delightful ways these golden treasures can grace your table and warm your heart throughout the autumn season and beyond. The classic presentation honors both the waffle tradition and the pumpkin pie heritage of our dish. Serve these waffles warm from the iron, topped with a pat of butter that slowly melts into the golden grid squares, followed by a gentle drizzle of pure maple syrup. The maple's caramel notes create a perfect harmony with the pumpkin and spices, while its liquid sweetness seeps into every crevice of the waffle surface. For those who want to emphasize the pie connection, consider topping your waffles with a dollop of fresh whipped cream, perhaps lightly sweetened and flavored with a touch of vanilla. Dust the cream with a sprinkle of cinnamon or arrange a few toasted pecans around the plate to echo traditional pumpkin pie garnishes. This presentation transforms breakfast into something that feels almost dessert-like, perfect for special occasions or lazy weekend mornings. The versatility of these waffles extends far beyond the breakfast table. Consider serving them as an elegant brunch centerpiece, accompanied by crispy bacon or breakfast sausage to provide savory contrast to the sweet, spiced flavors. The combination creates a beautiful balance that satisfies multiple taste preferences while maintaining the comfort food essence that makes this dish so appealing. For entertaining, these waffles can anchor or build your own waffle bar. Arrange various toppings in small bowls, chop toasted nuts, fresh berries, different syrups, flavored butters, and various creams. Guests can customize their waffles according to their preferences, creating an interactive dining experience that brings people together around the table. The make-ahead possibilities make these waffles practical for busy households. The batter can be prepared the night before and stored in the refrigerator, though you'll want to re-whip the egg whites in the morning for optimal texture. Alternatively, make extra waffles when time permits and freeze them individually. These frozen treasures can be transformed back into fresh-tasting breakfast simply by toasting them directly from the freezer until heated through and crispy. Leftover waffles, if such a thing exists in your household, can be repurposed in creative ways. Cut them into strips for a unique twist on French toast sticks, cube them for a special bread pudding, or use them as the base for an autumn-inspired ice cream sundae. Their sturdy texture and distinctive flavor make them suitable for numerous dessert applications. For those who appreciate seasonal eating, these waffles represent the perfect bridge between the fresh abundance of late summer and the warming comfort foods of winter. They can be enjoyed throughout October and November when pumpkin flavors feel most natural, but they also work beautifully for cozy winter breakfasts when you want to bring a touch of autumn warmth to cold mornings. The social aspect of waffle making adds another layer of enjoyment to this recipe. Unlike many breakfast dishes that require last-minute preparation, waffles can be made to order, allowing family members or house guests to gather in the kitchen, sharing conversation while each waffle cooks to golden perfection. The gentle sizzle of the waffle iron and the rising aroma of spices create a natural gathering point that encourages lingering over breakfast. Consider pairing these waffles with beverages that complement their warm flavor profile. Freshly brewed coffee, especially medium or dark roasts, provides pleasant contrast to the sweetness while echoing some of the warm, toasted notes in the spices. Hot spiced cider creates beautiful harmony with the pumpkin pie flavors, while cold milk offers a refreshing, cooling counterpoint that many find irresistible with any waffle preparation. For health-conscious enjoyments, these waffles can be part of a balanced breakfast when served with protein-rich accompaniments and fresh fruit. The pumpkin itself provides valuable nutrients, and the satisfaction these waffles provide can help prevent mid-morning snacking on less nutritious options. As we conclude our time together tonight, I hope you found both practical knowledge and peaceful relaxation in our exploration of pumpkin pie waffles. From their historical roots in colonial ingenuity to the modern kitchen techniques that create perfect texture, from the individual stories of each ingredient to the many ways these waffles can bring joy to your table, we've traveled together through the complete world surrounding this wonderful dish. And on that note, I want to thank you for joining me here in our quiet corner of the culinary world. I hope these gentle food stories bring you comfort, knowledge, and perhaps inspiration for your own kitchen adventures. Sweet dreams, and I'll see you next time.